So guys, you're welcome to this live session. I want us to quickly take a look at this video because the truth is beginning to unfold. Experts have started, deep investigation in what happened in Jamb that affected mostly the Southeasterners, and it is now being revealed that it was a human error. So they intentionally failed Igbo children. I mean, this is horrifying. I mean, this is really, really horrifying. Now, take a look at this video. This is one of the experts, this is a tech guy, and he was one of those who were invited to look into what happened in Jamb. And today he's telling the whole world that it was a human error that caused Southeasterners to fail Jamb. Who knows how long they've been doing this against the Southeasterners? Anyway, let me just allow you to take a look at this video. Listen to this.
So firstly, it was actually not a glitch. It was a clear human error, right? Yes. So what we found out is this. In the Jamb system, there are two clusters. There is a card cluster and there is a lab cluster. The lab cluster, they have other sub-clusters. They have the Lagos zone. They have the Imo zone. Imo zone has all the Southeast states. They have the Lagos zone that has the centers in Lagos. And we also have Ogun, FCT, and some of these other states around Kogi, right? So the point is, there's a patch update they are meant to push that they did not push. So a lot of things are wrong in that process. How can you be pushing a patch update 2-3 days before the actual exam? What was the test process? How was even the vendors even selected for a mission-critical application like Jamb? On this case, I actually reached out to Jamb and I asked them directly, why are these students' results being held? The reasons they gave me are very correct. And if you reference the UBE Act and all those things, legally correct, and also a law, it is a legal battle in the Lagos court, very correct, right? But I asked them one question. Since you know this is, why did you collect their money? Why didn't you reject them?
From the admission.
From so taking it's not a question of withholding their result and giving them. So it's stealing. You took my money and you refused to give me value, giving me reasons. So if you know that I'm underage, why did you take my money? So I think either Jamb refunds their money or you release their results. So it's based on the law and restrictions of the law, because of course we're a government organization. There are some restrictions you have. However, we understand that beautiful. Either you release the result or you give them back their money. It's just very simple. You can't hold up their results, frustrate these little children that their brains are not even so strong, and then you are still holding on their money and keep telling them the reasons that to them it doesn't make sense. I mean, I understand it and I've checked it and it makes sense. But however, next time you shouldn't even take their money at all. Don't allow them. If somebody falsifies age to pay to participate, then that is the person's problem.
Just it's a part of the video I want you to see. There is another video I actually wanted you to see first before that video. This same guy was on channel Arise TV today, and listen to what he said on Arise TV.
Let's not use the word glitch. I think this is actually a clear human error. So I'm actually from Jamb system. So unfortunately, this happened, and we didn't know. When I just noticed that I studied patterns, I started noticing that the failure rate was too much. Somebody scored 281 2 years ago, scored 311, and the person is scoring 164. And you see a lot of patterns. Somebody that won the national mathematics competition is scoring 40. The best students in top schools are scoring 140 in Jamb. I said, no, there's something that is really wrong. And of course, we have a lot of data also in Educare. When I put it up online, I said, you know what, if you have issues, tell me. I got like 18,000 people make reports. And obviously, I know that there's something wrong. And that's why I had to say, you know what, we must get to the end of this. As I was telling you, I had at least over 100 people who have been writing me that they're about to take their lives. And you can see that Jamb is something that is very critical to the life of these children. said it is a must that we have to get to them. So fortunately, said, let me first of all activate the Freedom of Information Act. When I activated it, and I wrote to Jamb and also wrote to the Senate and also wrote to the House. Fortunately, they reacted almost the next day, and then they engaged to allow us to come and look at the system. When we looked at the system and understood the architecture, we noticed something. There are two main clusters. They have the CAD cluster and they have the LAC cluster. And even within the LAC cluster, there's what they call the Lagos zone, there's what they call the Owerri zone, and some other parts. Of course, Kogi, FCT is part of the LAC cluster. So the big question was, why did it affect just these people, right? Why didn't it affect these same people in the same cluster? That means there's something really fishy that we need to dig into. I mean, one thing I really commend Jamb for is Jamb is actually a very transparent organization, and you can see the highest level of sincerity in them. However, there are people that they work with, right? Which, of course, they work with vendors. The point is, who are these vendors? And they were, for me, I was like, these people actually need to come for public scrutiny because we need to understand what exactly happened. And now that we found this, because probably this is the biggest, for the past 12 years, what has been happening? Because in technology, what it means is every year you improve on where you were. So if today we're experiencing disaster, we actually need to look back in the previous years. So I mean, at a glance, this is basically what happened. And now they have to fix. I recommended that they remark, because doing a receipt in 48 hours is something, for me, I say it's not practicable. They insisted that they have to do it. And of course, they went ahead. A lot of people are happy for the fact they had opportunity to receipt, but a number of people also haven't had the opportunity. So I would say, because I asked them a question, do we have the data? They said yes. If you have the data, why can't we just remark, right? The reasons are not so strong, right? I mean, I just noticed that they were more focused on the receipt, right? So, okay, no problem, let's receipt. So the receipts, hopefully, if not, no issues happen again, I mean, the children will actually see their scores. But this whole thing has actually been a lot of...
It has really been a whole lot of trauma for the children who sat for this exam. And you could hear him say he opted for them to, just remark. They insisted they want to receipt. I tell you, these children might not really be in that mood to write this exam and pass it. And if they write and fail, they cannot be blamed. And many people have been reacting. Why even punish these children for the mistake of Jamb? Jamb did this mistake. Like this guy said, Jamb is transparent, but they are working with vendors who have questionable character. So possibly some of these vendors were the ones that just came up and said, okay, let's fail the Igbos. Because you heard him say it's a human error thing. It's not just that, the system failed. A human, somebody intentionally decided to just target the Igbo children who sat for this exam, which is very, very wrong. There's nothing we've not seen under this APC government. The same glitch that happened in 2023 presidential election, the same thing we're experiencing now. Although, like, people have been commending Jamb, that Jamb has come out to at least apologize and also shed tears and, tell people that they understand what the children are going through and all that. But the INEC didn't do that. Now, the question remains, why was it that it was just the Igbo children that were targeted? I'm just going to take some of the reactions, because after this video, people were reacting and, just trying to air their own view as if trying to say that this is not just, maybe it didn't even start today. Some people were like, it didn't start today. Like this guy who was on Arise Television, he said he is suggesting they go back to trace what has been happening in Jamb, because this might not even be the first time. You can imagine that the 5 southeast states were all affected. The 5 of them. These are people that put a whole lot of effort when it comes to education. All of a sudden, you just woke up and say, okay, we have to fail them. And they succeeded, if not for the alarm that people started raising. Now, Ohanes Ndibo is saying that they should award all the children 300 scores, scores of 300, as in every child should be given 300 by Jamb. Ohaneze Igbo has rejected the offer of resitting for this exam. Instead, they said Jamb should give these children 300 scores per person because these children cannot pay for the sin of Jamb. Telling them to come and rewrite. The mistake is from Jamb, and you want them to come and rewrite just because children are desperate to enter school, which is also good. Now, Jamb is saying, come and rewrite. Many of the children are actually happy that they are even being offered the opportunity to write. But at the same time, it's not a good offer. That's it. And that's what this guy was saying, that it's not a good offer. Now, these are some of the reactions. You still see their defenders in criminality maligning Mr. Onya, telling him how he's not right, or continues to call it a national issue. Igbos have suffered enough in the hands of the Nigerian government. Now people are referring it now, to the Tinubus government because, see, this election that we had in 2023 has really planted a whole lot of hatred. Possibly this thing has not happened before. Maybe this is even the first time, but the level of hatred, between the Yorubas and the Igbos this time is really going, it's escalating, in a very, very speedy rate, which is not supposed to be. Now, this person said few things. They will rather re-examine than remark because the remark is cheaper. Remark is cheaper. That's what these guys said. Why not remark? But they said they want to receipt. They want the children. The children will have to travel from one place to the other with all the insecurity, the risk, the stress, and all that. For the sin that Jamb committed, children are now going to pay. And then this person also said, those vendors should be investigated as soon as possible. If not, this stunt will happen again. Number 3, he said, those in charge of marking Jamb results since 1999 should be investigated also. Something huge is down this rabbit's hole, which is possible since 1999, all those who have been marking Jamb. So you can see that Jamb can just decide to fail anybody, whether you are an individual or as a community or as a state or as a local government. These vendors can just pick on you and decide to fail you. For the fact that they could target the Igbos, those of them in the Southeast and those of them living even in Lagos, is something that calls for more questioning. Now, this person also reacted and said, Jamb has become a tool in APC anti-Igbo bigotry war. Just like INEC, Jamb has lost credibility, and the fear now is that they can no longer act as an independent or fair examination body. Certain people in Nigeria buy the merit system, then they destroy the economy. So what he's just trying to say is that Jamb can no longer be trusted. Even though these experts said Jamb as an entity or as a body, they are transparent, but just that some of their contractors, the people they give, the vendors, the people they use in accomplishing this exam, whatever, some of them have questionable characters, and they are the ones that actually uttered what was uttered in this process that led to this problem. So Jamb, according to him, he said Jamb should not be faulted, but the vendors they are using should be the ones that should be faulted. Now, this person said, if they have the data, why can't they remark? How can our young generation be subjected to such trauma? That is what everybody's saying. Asking these children to come and rewrite again. The heartbeat alone, tension, fear. You just become fearful, as in you will not be able to coordinate because there's already a controversy around the exam. So it's not going to be a very simple thing for these children to do. Then why not just award these children the scores like Ohaneze Igbo have said, give them 300 marks per person, 300 scores per person, because it's not their fault now. But Jamb is saying they want to receipt. I'm just thinking how this is going to happen. What if they receipt and these children fail? Because this man said even the best mathematician that have gone to international competitions and won will score like 40. Best students in different schools will score like 1 something. Then people who are not there academically, not that strong, they were seen giving marks because they are not from these states that were affected. So it's really, really so sad that we are here at this point, honestly. Now, this person say in Nigeria, there is the fear that Igbos are highly gifted people and that they are not quiet about it. So these strategies to stop has been there. Okay, he's trying to say that the strategies to stop the Igbos has been there. It was since the emergence of the APC government under Buhari that it was heightened, but official BAT, that's the Tinubus government, has taken it to another level. Who are the people working with Jamb? Because the head cannot come out to shed crocodile tears in public, while those responsible are underground perpetrating the planned strategy to destroy the Igbos by spreading their skulls in Jamb and other exams. Well-meaning Igbo leaders should take this seriously and demand serious accountability and public scrutiny of all those responsible. The question remains, do we even have leaders that can really speak up? Do we have leaders? For some days now, they've all gone silent. Nobody again is talking about this thing. If not that this expert came out now on channels, television, and News Central to give updates on their finding. And he went further to say those Igbo politicians in APC under this government should never be seen as sincere people and should never be part of any inquiry on this. The North and the Southwest are afraid of the advancement of the Igbos in all spheres of life, and that is causing panic among these people. And I'm not in any way surprised at how far they can go to undermine the progress of Igbos in Nigeria. So these are just people's reactions, I'm just taking them one after the other. I'm not selecting, These are people. This person says Jamb simply exposed what happened in 2023 general election. It's clearly showing Nigeria that there is fire on the mountain come 2027. That is it. And this other person says CTBO, imagine opted for receipt instead of remark. How did you mark it in the first place? Was this not supposed to be automated marking? So what this guy, I think this person who reacted here must have some tech knowledge. He's now trying to say that, remarking is very simple. This one that Jamb is talking about, receipting, is just like, trying to complicate things since they already have the data. You just go back, retrieve them and go through their scripts and remark these things. And they are not even essay, as in, these are just like simple questions that you just answer A, B, or C. You just tick something like that. So I think remarking is going to be very easy. So a whole lot is happening under the Tinubu's government. We don't know what is happening in this country. Now they are just after 2027 presidential election, while this government has not even done anything in terms of bettering the life or making the lives of people better. There is nothing that we are seeing. Rather, people are just crying of hunger and suffering all over the places. People like Kenneth Okonkwo has equally lent his voice on what the Tinubu's government is out and the way they are just destroying this country called Nigeria. I'm just going to allow you to take a look at some of the clips of Kenneth Okonkwo and what he has got to say recently about the Nigerian state. Just take your time, watch this video, and let me know your honest thoughts in the comment section below.
APC had told us previously that 2027 is a done deal. And we've seen a gale of defections. Now, the North, that people used to say, oh, Northerners have rejected Tinubu. Now we have the governors of the Northwest, the senators, the lawmakers from the Northwest, all of them saying there is no vacancy in Aso Rock in 2027. So maybe Ganduje is right then to have said that 2027 is a done deal for the APC. What do you think?
Well, let's first of all commence this program by reminding us what Martin Luther King Jr. said. He said everyone must decide whether he will walk in the light of creative altruism or in the darkness of destructive selfishness. Our leaders, they are now very known worldwide for making a decision to walk in the darkness of destructive selfishness. You can imagine a people that are consumed by insecurity. This morning, 15 persons have been killed in Agatu, local government of Benue State. In Northwest, they have become a basket case, have the highest number of out-of-school children. They are the poorest. And then, what people busy themselves to do is to be talking about an election that is 2 years from now. Let me tell you, those sycophants that you saw there, they're not up to 1,000. All the political leaders in the Northwest, they're not up to 1,000. The population of Northwest in Nigeria is about 67 million persons. About more than 60 million persons. About 27% of the entire Nigerian population. Democracy is the government of the people, not the government of APC or some sycophants in the Northwest who are not interested in the welfare and security of their people, but in how to acquire power and money. It is shameful. We are not even up to 2 years of this regime, and people are consumed about who will be the next president in the next election. I tell you honestly, I feel disgusted. But like I said, they've made a choice to be walking in the darkness, pure darkness of destructive selfishness. These are people that steal what they don't even need. Let me give you an example of what I'm trying to say. If you recall, in Delta State, you saw how a drama went on there. Official defection to APC. In that podium that was in Delta State, you will see men who have been convicted by Supreme Court for bribery and corruption in dollars in the name of integrity. You will see men that have been known to be pocketing dollar in their danchiki openly, looking at whether anybody is seeing them. Those same people are still being called by their states to give accounts of their stewardship as governor, and they are evading by all means unknown to go and answer for what they have done. Their surname is now classified as dollar, and you saw some people there who are invited by EFCC to give accounts. So there you are seeing association of professional criminals made up of suspects, made up of accused, made up of convicts. These are facts. Are these people the people you think that will give you light of creative altruism? I have now known the philosophy of APC. In Delta State, their spokesperson came out and mentioned the ideology. They say they are taste of palm wine politicians. And let me tell you something about palm wine. My father was a traditional chief and had a DOC, a palm wine tapper, that brings palm wine for him in the morning every day. The one that the bottom has not reached the ground. Always swell. And that palm wine, if you don't refrigerate it, it can change taste more than 20 times in a day. And if you allow it to stay a day or two, it will be so strong you can use it to make local gin, kai kai. So these are politicians that are unstable like water. I guarantee you that a lot of them will work even for the opposition come in the next 2 years, because they are taste of palm wine politicians. They say when the taste of palm wine changes, they also change. So you are talking about chameleon.
Okay.
Who work?
All right, Mr. Okonkwo, I know today we don't have that much time with you, so I just want to step in at this point. I was reading an article, an interview granted by a senator who just defected from NNPP to APC. And in his estimation, he says, there are no parties, there are no ideologies, it's just the alphabet. The only thing that differentiates the political parties in Nigeria are letters of the alphabet. Now, in this instance, you're somebody who has come from Labour Party. We see the issues happening inside Labour Party. There's APC, which is now being accused of dangling the carrot, offering contracts and all sorts of juicy goodies for people to come and defect. There's PDP, which has its own issues. What's the way forward? Because it seems that all of the political parties are made up of the same people who, as you have called them, are palm wine drinkers, who change drinking pattern several times of the day. What's the way forward for the Nigerian citizen?
You know, like I said, I wanted to conclude on the fact that the election in the Northwest is going to be determined by 60 million persons, not by 1,000 sycophants. The way forward is very simple. You have known that I got disgusted with what even the opposition parties are doing. But thank God, the election of 2027 is going to be between the people of Nigeria and the ruling party, because democracy is the government of the people. The way forward is that there is a need. You know, there is a saying that your biggest teacher is your last mistake. In 2023, the opposition made the mistake of dividing themselves, and then a minority party that got about 37% of the vote now became a ruling party. And you can see the destruction they are making. The way forward is that the opposition should come together in a coalition. And when they come together, they will give Nigerians the alternative in integrity, in character, in learning, in knowledge. And I'm telling you, Nigerians will speak. And Nigerians must remember that in Nigeria today, when you vote, you have to defend your vote. So Nigerians must come together. The opposition must come together, set their house in order, and then take out this government that has become a scourge on the Nigerian people.
Okay, I'd like to ask you this. The Punch newspaper ran with a story today that some people are saying Atiku wants to give Peter Obi a running mate ticket for a one-term presidency. What's your take on Atiku and such arrangements like that? Anyway, Atiku camp offers Obi VP role in a one-term deal. What's your take on things like that? Secondly, you say parties have ideology. Can you tell me the ideology of the Labour Party that you were part of? Because, take for instance, I'll give you an instance. Labour is supposed to be pro-workers. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party was a proper capitalist to the core. There was a diversion of ideology in terms of who Peter Obi was and what's supposed to be the Labour Party ideology. So tell me, and I asked this question to Peter Obi many times, tell me what's the ideology of the Labour Party? Because if a capitalist, par excellence, is running on a Labour Party that believes in workers' rights, are very social in its outlook, then there's a diversion of ideology. So tell me what the ideology of the Labour Party is, and tell me what you think about this Atiku Abubakar, saying he wants to offer Peter Obi a deal, VP for a one-term deal.
Well, you see, in politics, candidates have the choice to get into their own discussion and negotiation. But for me, my own take is that whoever believes that he's qualified to be president should submit himself for a free and fair primary election. That toughness that we're going to face in the primary will determine the person that has the capacity to face the tough challenge in the general election. I am not in the league of people trying to persuade anybody to step down for anybody. That should be the decision of the candidate himself, because I wouldn't want anybody to come out and say, I'm leaving this coalition or this party because I was pressured to give up my ambition. I wouldn't have loved to be this or that. So whatever Atiku or Obi are discussing should be left for them. But for me, whoever wants to contest for the presidency should submit himself and contest for the presidency and let the people decide. That's what I'm going to say on that.
Okay.
Now,
the Labour Party ideology question I ask you, please. What's the Labour? Yeah.
Yes, the Labour Party ideology. Remember, it's a workers' party. And so it is to build a new Nigerian personality that is altruistic, that is transparent and committed to due process of law in all spheres of our economy, that will care for the security and welfare of workers. And I'm talking about Labour Party. Remember, the politicians entered into Labour Party almost 3 months before the time. So whether they would have integrated their own ideologies is something only God knows, because it's only God that knows what ought to have been or what would have been.
Okay, so
The voters in an election give to an incumbent. After 2 years, it becomes a legitimate situation to campaign for the next election and to determine whether that government has succeeded or failed. Recall in America, every 2 years they have election, so that they have a choice of changing the direction of the country if the incumbent is not doing well, or substantiating his position if he is doing well. Trump just came in. That's why you have midterm elections. Because they know that the legislature is the seat of power in a democracy. Because they have the pulse and they approve of all the appointments from the executive. So 2 years is what the incumbent has. After 2 years, you don't have any other.
Okay, all right, good way to
any other hiding place.
Good way to open. So I just wanted to set that that frame just for the beginning, theoretically. So how will you then assess the first 2 years? I mean, I think probably in a few more days it will be exactly 2 years. What would be your general assessment before we go into the details?
Very good. I will restrain myself from using my words and my opinion so that people do not say that I am already, in a camp against the incumbent. I am going to use the words of APC members, of Southwest people, of Muslims. These are his own people and constituency. Not long ago, the Islamic clerics from the north came out to disassociate themselves from same-faith ticket as a result of the performance of this government. These were the people that were willing to go on jihad when this man chose a fellow Muslim to be his vice president. And they said they would go on jihad if they don't put them in. Today, they have repudiated that ticket because of the terrible performance of this government in power. The people from Southwest, particularly from Omeko, the city where Bola Tinubu claims to be his own town, they were the first that shot the first salvo. Ebin power. We are hungry. And this has been corroborated by the World Bank. And the World Bank was even merciless in their submission by saying that throughout the tenure of Tinubu, we will be hungry and we will continue to be more hungry. They say 3.6% of the people will continue to enter into deeper poverty. And by 2027, more than 56% of the population will be in abject poverty. Now, the APC people want Onopasa to be precise. He said he does not know where this man's administrative style came from. That he has no business in Aso Rock, and that they will ensure he does not smell them and does not have second term. Now, he's a one-term president. Summing up these are people that were willing to die for this government when this government came in. They have weighed this government on a scale and they have found this government wanting. They have cancelled this government, and I agree with them in their submission that this government is only a one-term government because Nigeria is perishing. Okay, this is even factual things, strange things that I cannot even explain. It's happening in this government. You have seen where they say, this is strange things. I can't explain. A 10-year-old boy pregnanting 10 girls within 5 months.
Is that the problem?
That's what I'm saying, strange things. In the next 9 months, the guy will be a father of 10 children. Strange. Okay. Look at another strange thing.
Okay.
In the Jamb, you can see how technical glitch consumed 379,000 results, leading to the suicide of one lady. But here is the difference. Your Loyede man came out in tears, in total remorse, apologized, owned up, identified the polling units. But that a retake, and to ameliorate the situation.
I think that is
Wonderful, very honorable. Compare that with Professor Yakubu, who owned up there was a technical glitch, who refused to identify the polling units affected and refused to conduct a rerun and declared results from the sky and told people to go to court. They reminded Oloyede the Jamb register. People petitioned. He listened to them, investigated it, and said they were correct. People petitioned Yakubu, the opposition. On that day, he was declaring that result. And they played back his own tape, audio tape. He listened to it, yet he continued and told them to go to court. That's the difference between being honorable and being dishonorable. Nobody should give 1 naira again to that Yakubu until he retires. He's looking for retirement benefit. It's the worst thing that has ever happened to Nigeria in terms of electoral jurisprudence and electoral process. Now, coming to Tinubu's own issue, let's talk about the basic things about
before you
government,
proceed,
which is the security and welfare of the people.
Just a minute, Ken. Just for purposes of fair comments, Professor Yakubu, we are open to your right of reply. This is the view of Kenneth Okoko, to which is entitled.
Absolutely.
If you or any of your aides also want to give a counter, this forum is very open. Please go on to the details now.
Thank you very much. I said what I said unapologetically because although they acknowledge technical glitch, use the same word.
Just move on, yeah.
Very good. Now, just take the issue of security and welfare, which the Constitution said is the primary duty of government. Tinubu's government has worsened the security of this nation. Please don't take my words for it. Take the words of Governor Zulu. He said Boko Haram is resurging in the northeast because they have taken away the resources, military resources, meant to fight Boko Haram to the northwest. And now, within 24 hours, within 48 hours, more than 10 of our well-trained soldiers humiliated, killed, after he has warned. So this is a government of the deaf and the dumb. A governor told you, look at what is happening. We need urgent response. None was given. Today, Boko Haram is what? The re-insurgency is manifesting in the northeast. Failure for him. Let's come to North Central. You saw what is happening in Plateau State. They killed the first 50-something persons. The governor of Plateau screamed. What did this government do? Nothing. Within 24 hours, 48 hours, they killed more people, going to 100 and you know what the media aide of the president said? Plateau governor, go and mind your business. Go and take care of your people. You are not implementing shifting responsibility. The president was in Paris when those things were happening. He couldn't cut his visit short. This is Plateau. And the governor in tears was telling his people that they would see what they would do. Whatever happened to the state police? When this president was a governor, all his successors were most vociferous on the issue of state police. And I mentioned Fashola, who has been saying it repeatedly, that you cannot give somebody responsibility without giving him authority to perform. These are his proteges. And I told them that tyrants don't always like to devolve power. And now that he's president, a man that can make the National Assembly to do the impossible within hours, can no longer make them to amend the Constitution to give us state police.
Do you think that is...
It is because he doesn't want it. As simple as that. Now,
because he has said that it's going to be done.
What are you? Is it when he wants to leave or in his second term?
And next is...
It's going to be done. We're just saying 2 years. 50% of it. How many days did it take him to change the national anthem? How many days did it take him to change the tax reforms? They begged him to even slow down in the tax reform. What did he say? He said, no. I don't want to listen. It will go on in the National Assembly. Who told you that if you wanted state police, you wouldn't have gotten it within 2 weeks?
Okay. The point is well made.
When Yaradua took ill and it nearly collapsed Nigeria, they amended the constitution within a month. Section 145, if I can remember. It takes will. Because he does not like that. That is why it is not done. People are dying for nothing. Because Nigerians know the solution. Let's move to Benue State. Still in the North Central. In Benue State, even a reverend father's prayer could not help him anymore. Because faith without work is dead, being alone. His people are being massacred. And these places are the food basket of Nigeria. For you to know why we are becoming a basket case. When a government cannot protect the food areas of Nigeria, hunger and poverty ensue. And they are pretending they are working. Working what? In Benue, they kill people to the point that the Reverend Father came out and said the federal government should up their game. That is an euphemism of failure. How many people will still need to die before they do something? Let's go to the Northwest. Lakurawa, however it's called. An insurgent group that came in the disguise that they are protecting the people. And the people wholeheartedly submitted to them. You know why? Because of some spaces that are not just ungoverned, but ungovernable. And the people submitted only to discover that they are foreign terrorists. Do you talk about Niger? Good. The same thing. You saw how the governor of Niger State even descended to put in the help that people. Do we go to the southeast? South?
But the
Southwest.
the government
The
cutting the head of dreadlocks. That's not the president's problem.
It's frustration. No, the president is the one who is in charge of the security and welfare. He has the monopoly of the forces, has refused to cede the power to the state government by allowing them to have state police and giving them the commensurate arms to take on the insurgents that have superior power arms.
Okay.
Dr. Nnamdi said it's only a madman that goes to confront a man with a gun. You must be insane.
I wanted to take up, two issues. The first one is the issue of state police. And I see your point that when the president was going to change the anthem, it was quite and then of course the issue of the tax reform.
Yes, they pleaded with him.
Now the issue of the anthem is not as complicated as state police, but the issue of tax reform is quite something that is shown very clearly that this is the issue of the state. I think and this is my own view too. I think that if you look at what he has represented, and that is what I am sticking by. He has been an advocate of state police. So I still believe, and I will be utterly disappointed if the 4 years is gone and we don't have state police. That's my counter on that. And then on the issue of
so my question to you on that is why 4 years?
Why should we take 4 years?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I don't disagree with the facts. Look, the facts are the facts.
Because it's 2 years.
Yeah, there's no point about there's no point denying whatever the fact is.
Almost all the 36 governors, let's say 35, have agreed to state police.
Yeah, so I don't think that he is blocking the state police. I think he is blocking not state police. I think that you are right that he's not as proactive as he was
blocking.
when he pushed the issue of tax reform, for instance.
That is blocking.
But it doesn't necessarily mean it's blocking.
In criminal offense, I come as a lawyer.
Okay.
A crime is commission or omission.
Okay.
The same weight.
Okay. But then
you have
let me
admitted
respond.
that there is a crime of omission.
Let me respond. The
That's
difference there,
Yes.
as a student of logic, I'm not a lawyer, but as a student of logic, is that the crime has been done and the time has elapsed. In this case, there is still 2 years. I don't deny the fact, but there is still 2 years.
I'm saying,
so it still has
if people
2
are
years
dying at this rate, and they're saying because we don't have enough men, we don't have enough boots on the ground, and you would have to wait for another 2 years to allow. Look, 300 persons. 300 persons have died in Plateau State.
Don't let's debate.
I agree with you.
Facts.
I just want you to know that he's blocking it.
Yeah, so
by omission.
That's your
commission.
That's your view. I agree that indeed, yes, you are right to say that. Look, when he wanted the tax reform, he was very,
Four different
very strong about it. He made the point that look, these guys don't know what they are saying, and I even commended him for that. Now he hasn't done that for state police. But I think it's has time. Let's move on. Let's
yes. Now, and you were saying something about his threats, as in when he wants something.
Yeah.
Good. I listened to the khaki wearing politician who used to say he's fighting for the people. But who's now a bourgeois in your studio. I'm talking about Adam Salio Shomwe. And when he was talking about Tinubu, he said Tinubu is the only person that has not decamped from one party to the other, trying to create the deceit of consistency. Because we're talking about going into 2 years. The most inconsistent politician in Nigeria that has no ideology, no policy, no principle is His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I take it from 1999. Honestly, don't take my words for it. We're talking about coalition. We're talking about this.
Yes.
And then somebody wants to give him as an example as a person that has been consistent in being in opposition. White lie. In 1999, Tinubu was elected as a governor under AD. And his state is the most prominent state in Southwest.
Right.
The same 1999, AD went into coalition with APP and produced Olufalaye, and they voted Olufalaye under APP. Coalition.
That was in
1999. They did not even wait the next year. In 2003,
right.
Tinubu, as an AD governor,
Right.
they went into coalition with PDP, this same PDP. And they voted for Olusegun Obasanjo. Tinubu, particularly showed his ballot and showed how he voted for Olusegun Obasanjo. They dumped Olufalaye. In 2000 and...
Did Olufalaye run in 2003?
Yes. No, he did not run. They packed him up.
Yeah. So you can't say he dumped him in 2003 because he didn't run in 2003.
That's Eddie.
He didn't run in 2003.
He did not run now. That's why they dumped him. They endorsed Olusegun Obasanjo to be their sole.
Yeah, but you didn't know that.
Of another party.
You didn't know that Olufalaye wanted to run in 2003.
Whatever it is, he did not run.
So you didn't know. So that's
what I'm saying. Okay, because he ran for them in 1999.
Right.
In 2003. Obasanjo, that is his arch political, he call it rival, call it opponent in the Southwest. He aligned with him and personally voted for him. Coalition with PDP. In 2007, and that is where Oshomole told a white lie. Tinubu had already fallen out with AD and their leadership at Fenifere. He dumped them. He formed AC. And as a sitting governor of AD, they camped to AC because AD was still there.
No, but AD collapsed into AC, Kenneth.
No, they did not collapse. AD as a political party was still existing. He destroyed AD so that he will now no longer be under the leadership of AD, which is controlled and was controlled by Afenifere. So he formed a new party, AC. Remember, he ran under AD in that 2003. In 2007, he wanted to run with Atiku Abubakar. The same Tinubu endorsed Atiku Abubakar. Atiku Abubakar was the presidential candidate of AC 2007. He wanted to be the vice presidential candidate. Atiku refused because of the Muslim ticket. So he decamped from AD into AC. Clearly, in 2011, he supported Goodluck Jonathan of PDP. President Jonathan just confirmed it by thanking them for throwing their support to the husband and herself. 2011. In 2015, not because he loved Jonathan, but because Buhari did not agree with his terms. And that was why the coalition collapsed in 2011. In 2015, Buhari was willing to agree and concede to him. And he supported Buhari. This is a man that has never supported two presidential candidates in two elections from 1999 to 2015. 5 electoral circles. And you're telling me about consistency?
Okay, all right. So let's just take it forward. I'll make a comment on my own perspective, and then we move to something else that I wanted to talk about. Now, and I'm going to start with North Central. And then I'll build it up. Now, I personally think that what is happening in North Central, which is not new, is cumulative, is quite, for me, I find it very, very alarming. It's a very troubling situation, and I think that as a people, I think we have even lost our humanity up to a point, because those deaths, those callous attacks no longer infuriate us as it ought to be. Which is why, I have tried on this program to humanize the story, to talk about, actually read out the names of the people. And I found the statement of the governor of Plateau State, Caleb Mutfwang. I find it quite courageous to say that this is a genocide that is going on. Very, very forthright. Now, but I am willing to concede that, yes, Tinubu is well in charge, but this problem started long ago. I wish that he has the courage to deal with it, because what I think has happened is that we've not been blessed with courageous leadership who understand that the reason why you have power is to help the people to transform situation. Again, I'm still holding out hope. Now, the other issue I wanted to talk, okay. Well, no, you've made your point now.
Okay, no, I wanted to point out.
Okay, please go ahead.
I respectfully disagree with you that as a people,
right,
we have lost our humanity. Nigerians are the most, as a matter of fact, Nigerians are the most.
I don't mean it. I don't mean it in a bracket sense.
I understand. That's what I'm saying. Because when you say it, it will appear as if we are now condoning or trying to contain. No, we are helpless in the front of incompetent leaders. Look at you. You're a journalist. You're not a soldier. So the best you can do is to be crying. And you're crying. What else will you do? Somebody begged, according to him, danced, and told you he has what it takes to stop it. And was given the chance, and it has been subverted. So it is not a case of the people. The people are wailing and crying. It's a case of leadership.
I agree with you.
And you talked about courage.
When I'm talking about, you will go back to that. When I was talking about the fact that we are losing our humanity, it's more about the political elites.
Yeah, the leadership.
Please go ahead. We're talking about
now. He said we have not men that have courage. I agree. The only thing the politicians in power in Nigeria do, unfortunately, is that they like to afflict the people with the pathogen of fear. They like to afflict them with the virus and bacteria of fear. But we will inoculate them with the vaccine of courage. Because courage shall of necessity be more contagious than fear. If they don't want to show courage to solve our problem, we should show courage to take them out.
And that's the point, that's
not up to 5,000 persons embarrassing 200 million persons.
I served under Buhari or Shibajo, and it didn't happen the way we hope, which is why I'm here to say that, look, we need to give Nigerians the information that they need. We need to be able to talk about these things objectively and realistically. We need to engage and contest issues, which is what we are doing today. So now let's move on to your perspective about the president's not defecting, which Combe said. I also believe, I don't agree with you that the AD was stripped. I think what happened was that AD dissolved.
No.
Into AC. Okay, all right.
No. So AD existed.
No, it certainly existed.
Many years, good. So it did not dissolve.
No. The people, the main protagonists of AD dissolved into AC. Into AC. Well, it's leadership. Don't forget
that's
that.
What I'm saying.
Don't forget.
You say it's not decamping.
No, that's not decamping.
What is it?
It's the same people that formed Alliance for Democracy, essentially, that moved. Why did they not substantiate? Why did they not build AD? Look, so we can solve the different. Let me explain. You've made your point, Ken. Just let me explain. Yeah. So, what happened in 2003?
Yes.
Was that there was supposed to be some kind of understanding, between AD governors in the Southwest and the president, then Obasanjo, and like you said, and the perspective, the mainstream perspective, Ken, is that Obasanjo, outplayed 5 of them except Tinubu. Was able to say, look, we do not oppose you for presidency, but we are holding our ground. That was the agreement, but it turns out that Obasanjo managed to outwit the 5 others, Oshoba in Ogun, what's his name, Lamadeshino in Oyo, Akonde in Oshun, Niyi in Ekiti. There's one more state that we are missing.
I think you've called
Lagos, Oyo, Ondo. I think it's a different. I forgot the name of the governor of the state. So that was the thing. Now, so all of them were outwitted, outplayed, outdone by Obasanjo, except Tinubu. Yes. So that was how ACN. So AD was crushed in that defeat. So those leaders, including Oshoba, and most of these other governors, moved and said that, look, we are starting ACN. AC first. So essentially, Tinubu did not leave his people. Whatever name you call it, he kept with his people.
Now, which people?
Of the Southwest. The mainstream. The mainstream. Yes. The mainstream of the politics. Afenifere is not a political organization.
No, that's what I'm saying. Afenifere was the leader, political leader that formed AD. Afenifere is under Abraham Adesanya.
Yes.
He was the one
and that AD. Yes. I don't want us to get stuck here.
No.
That AD lost the election in 2003. So the leaders of the Southwest, the political leaders of the Southwest, felt it was time to have to change to metamorphosize into AC. That's the way I read it.
Okay, no.
But we don't have to. You're entitled to your point. Now, so and since then, I will give a lot of things that I too am not satisfied with this administration. There's no doubt about that, and I've said it publicly. But I will still give Tinubu the credit that he stuck with his people from AC and stood there. Look, even when the APC won the election in 2015. They still marginalized Tinubu, and he did not leave. So these are different. No, but I know they marginalized. Yes. And the reason I say this
I understand what you're saying.
And the reason I made this point, exactly. And the reason I made this point, it's not to. I don't agree with you. Yeah, absolutely. But it's just show that look, these are issues of perspectives.
Yes.
So I will still say that somebody like him has a fairer record of sticking with his guns than many of the other political leaders. But hey, we disagree on that.
No. Certainly. There's only one thing he's consistent about, and that his merciless quest for power and money.
Okay, all right. Let's move on.
And if you want me to give you facts,
no. I think
he put Fashola in power.
Okay.
They had problems. Fashola was the first person that started modernizing Lagos. The issue was money.
No, let's go.
Ambode was there. I was in APC. But that's the only thing because
the people of his own he will say that he set up the master plan. Let's don't waste time because there are other things to talk about. Okay,
he's now president.
Yeah, all the people that
went with him into APC from Southwest. Most of them are not there. Lai Mohammed, Babafemi, Arigboshola. So let's go. What do you say?
Of course, that is
Oshibando.
Yeah, that is another story.
Good.
That's another story.
So I'm just trying to let you know.
No, that's another story. My whole point is that
Because you said you've been carrying
when you compare,
along.
No, I didn't say that. No, I didn't say. I said that was the formula. I'm talking about how AD metamorphosed into AC. That's
No,
what
he
I
did not
said.
metamorphose.
That's why
he came to AC.
That's why no, it's not the campaign.
Metamorphosis is that. Okay, that was what happened. No, let me tell you.
Who is? I mean, tell me. Who are the people in AD when AC was from? Tell me.
Hold on.
Give me those people that
remained in AD.
Adebanjo is not a politician.
Hold on.
Adebanjo was a politician.
He was in charge of the AD. They were still having meetings.
Yes, Afenifere is a socio-political.
I will tell you what.
It's not a political party.
I will tell you what muffin is.
I'll
tell you what. No, I'll give you an example what muffin is.
Okay.
AC morphed into ACN. ACN morphed into APC.
No, those were mergers.
Good.
Those were mergers. They're different.
But AD this argument,
this argument is not necessarily because of the point. I think we have both made our point. Let's go to other things that I want us to talk about. So we've talked about the North Central have responded on the issue of Tinubu's presidency. Now let's talk about the point I wanted to make about North Central. Yeah, is that we don't seem to understand that when you have a governor, and this is important for the federal government because they control security. When you have a governor call a situation a genocide, that is an official indictment. It is close to it. It is not, you're a lawyer. It is not a prima facie, but it's close to it.
Yes.
When you have a governor, and this thing has international implications. The International Criminal Court is there because a genocide is a crime against humanity. So a governor of a state has come out to say this is genocide. I think that they better take the matter seriously because this issue can be internationalized and there will be basis. There will be basis because the system, as it is currently being our system, is not working. It's not delivering justice to the people of North Central Nigeria.
Sorry again to say I disagree with you a bit.
Okay.
You said this issue can be internationalized.
Yes.
And I'm already saying it's already internationalized.
Well, I'm saying that it can even go to the
That's
ICC.
what I'm saying. Why do you think that America is putting Nigeria now closer to people that are terrorizing Christians? Officially. It is because of such things. And then coupled with the terrible mistake that Tinubu did by picking a fellow Muslim, creating the impression, perception is very funny.
Right.
Any nation that is blessed with diversity, they do not understand the power they wield. America became one of the most powerful nations on earth because of harnessing their diversity.
True.
If they want to take on any country, they will have people from that country that they have as citizens who enjoy free and equal everything in the eyes of the law. You can imagine if Nigeria can harness their diversity. We have access to Christian nations by our diversity. We have access to Muslim nations. We have access to black, whites, everything. And now, you see this country because of leadership. Leadership of people like Tinubu, who is antithetical to everything, our diversity. And any nation that rejects such spirit of diversity will continue to go down. If Tinubu rules Nigeria for 30 years, and I am putting Boala, he cannot afford anything new. According to what I said, don't take my words for it.
I must interject that,
Go ahead. He said even if you give him 30 years, is it not happening?
I mean, this is just the side that we should treat quickly. I don't understand the logic of bringing a Boala. Since you rate it, I don't understand the logic of making a Boala a spokesperson. If you wanted to neutralize him, based on all the things that he has said about the president, it reflects badly on both of them, both himself and the president. Now, if the president wants to neutralize him, which is what I think he's doing, or if he wants to settle him, go and put him somewhere, but to bring a Boala, and it reflects badly, poorly on the character of Boala.
Now,
and you see how Boala has had to fight. There was even a time he went on TV and he was looking for water.
Yes. I mean, his throat was dry.
But that's his side.
Exactly. The only reason he was taken was to deny the opposition of Boala. Remember that immediately he was taken. Voila, wanted to say, I'm the spokesman. I said, shut up. You are not.
Yeah.
Can you imagine bringing a lawyer and saying he's a policy analyst?
No, what policies analyze that? Let's move on. Economics or what? They can. I want us to also talk about the state governors. You know, and I will explain, and then you can also make your own comment. Now, let me restate my view. I also have issues with this comment. No doubt about it. But I'm holding out hope. That's the difference between you and me.
Yes, I'm already
exactly. Yeah. You know, I'm holding out hope because something tells me that with all these things that this man was the one. He was the leader of progressive politics. So I'm going to give him his 4 years. All right. So I will say that state governors are in charge, okay, of education. They're in charge of health. They can make things happen in a grid. They can provide human capital development. They can even ensure that the productivity of agriculture in their states can actually bring some kind of support to their people. This was what happened during regional governments. You know, I mean, I grew up in the West, so I can talk about how you know, as regional, you know, premier, you know, was able to do free education, free health, and even in the Second Republic, UPN did free health and free education. These were state policies. UPN was not in the federal government. How much responsibility are you willing to concede that the governors have in what it is that is the fate of the country today? Ken?
Very good. First and foremost, you talked about agriculture.
Yeah.
How can somebody go to the farm? When he goes to the farm, he will be killed. It happened in Enugu, my state. It happened in Benue. It happened in Plateau. It happened in Nigeria. Everywhere in Nigeria. In Edo, you recall that those 16 people were killed because of apprehension that the natives have been killed consistently.
Yeah.
So how do you go to agriculture when your life? That's why I'm saying, why don't you give these people state police so that I will have a reason to blame them?
But aren't you giving the governors?
No, let me comment. I just talked about agriculture.
Yeah.
Because when you give somebody leeway to escape whatever you say, you can blame him. Now, let's talk about, because they say when the fish starts getting rotten from the head, there is nothing you can do. The body must rot away. We talked about Awo. Awo ran through federalism. The resources of the Southwest was in his hand. And he paid tax to the federal government. 50% of it. Give the same thing to these governors. I will be the first to blame them. How do you blame them? They come cap in hand to Abuja. And whatever you give them, at whatever time you give them, that's what they will operate on.
But they can raise money from the states. Okay.
Good. You know one thing? I am telling you the major things you mentioned.
Yeah.
Am I exonerating the governors completely? No. But when you now have a governor a president that can remove a governor for no reason.
It's absolutely unacceptable. I don't accept that too.
Very good. So if this president now, that's why I say they're afflicting people with the pathogen of fear, with the disease of fear. Whatever they tell these governors down to do, why are they defecting? For the same reason, fear. So I cannot heap blames on the governor, even though they share some. But you can only blame them as much as you want to blame them. But when you come to facts, you will see that they will defeat you on those facts. Fear is amongst them. People can go to the farm. Can you imagine the governor of Plateau State? He guaranteed his people, after that first attack, that they were going to do something. Within 48 hours, almost 100 persons were killed again.
Yeah.
So, if the governor now tells you, go, you will be safe. Would you trust his words? Sit at home, or let me say southeast. At the initial stage, people wanted to say, go to hell. How can we feed our family? Until their cars are being bombed, until they are being killed. So when you tell people to, no, come out, and they come out and they are killed, do you think they will obey your order? So the issue here is this. As far as security is concerned, the federal government alone cannot handle it.
Absolutely.
Cede this power to the state.
But Ken, I must tell you.
Good.
I must tell you that
So,
in the last...
I know where you're coming from, but then they are completely...
Okay, all right, good.
They don't have power over their own resources.
Yeah, good point, Ken. And I don't disagree. Like I said, there's no point disagreeing with the reality. In the last National Economic Council meeting, the state, the issue of state police was on the agenda.
Yes.
But they skipped it. The governors are the 30. There are probably about 40 members of NEC. The governors are 36. And they are not insisting on the urgency of state police. I agree with you already that it seems that the president is not pushing as much force as he pushed behind the issue of tax reform, behind state police, because when he saw that, he said, this is where I'm going, But what about the governors? How are they not? Why are they not? Ken, yes. Why shouldn't the governors be banging the table at every opportunity that we need state police and we need it now? Why not?
If you ask me, I would say they are doing that. Just last week, I just told you that the whole Northern governors, with the whole traditional leaders, they were all shouting state police.
But they were in the North meeting.
No.
And they allowed the thing to be skipped.
When you say NEC, that's an advisory organ.
Yes.
Good. They have their different forums, the governors' forums. And they are banging on it repeatedly. There may have been a reason. In the NEC, that same NEC, they have said it before.
Yeah.
So it's not as if they've not said it at all.
Yeah. And the reason why
when you're banging something, is it not only to the deaf that you bang something? No. You are saying something repeatedly, it is not being done. Okay. Can you imagine when Tinubu was a governor, when Fashola was a governor, there was no unanimity amongst the governors on state police as at that time. Now that there is unanimity, you're still you're telling them, go and bring your report. Go and bring your summary. Go and bring, that's what the president is telling the governors. Makinde came out and like, what do you mean? Go and bring summary or what? He said it publicly. So when you want to put roadblocks, you are putting roadblocks and you have to agree that you're putting roadblocks.
Absolutely, Ken, this is one area
the federal government does not need to even consult the governors, except for the sake of consultation, so that they will support it.
I agree. And this is one area where, the federal government, and I'm speaking specifically about the president now, if the president finishes these 4 years and we don't have a state police, it will be so, I don't want to use it to be so shameful especially.
You may say, let's give him 8 years. You may say, let's give him 8 years.
No, I mean, we're not at that point yet.
I don't have 2 years to give him.
I'm just saying that, look, so if somebody wants to make a dramatic change, 2 years is enough. That's my argument. And I'm hoping, that's why I'm holding out hope. I don't disagree with the reality of what has happened in our country, Ken. I don't disagree. But I'm just saying that, okay, look, this is your trajectory. And some of us are still hoping. That's what I'm saying. But
I agree with you. If this president had shown in other things that he was doing and in his dealing with National Assembly, that he takes his time, I would have said even, let me give him benefit of that. But in all other things he wanted in National Assembly, he got all. Within the time he wanted it.
Good point. Because of our time, one last question that I'd like you to also talk about. As part of the constitutional amendment stuff, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives put up a bill for rotational presidency.
Yes.
He's the Deputy Speaker. He put up a bill. But a few days ago, the thing was knocked and they couldn't even get a second reading. Yeah. Now, my view is that I think we need to have rotational presidency in the Constitution for the reason of this nation idea is still an idea.
Yes.
We need to have a situation where we can let everybody have a sense of belonging. To a reasonable extent, the main political parties have even subscribed to the idea of rotational presidency informally. So defeating it on the floor of the House for the amendment, I think is a setback. What do you say? Last word as we conclude.
Good. Let me first of all admit that I also subscribe to the issue of rotational presidency. But you see, I do not think it's practicable to have rotational presidency under a 2-term of the government.
Okay.
So we're going to have a problem.
So it should be
1 term
of 6 years.
6 years. And it should rotate between North and South.
Yeah.
Not within the 6 geopolitical zones.
Okay.
From the Southeast, we have suffered injustice as a result of geopolitical zones.
Yes.
But it is because of our lack of strategy. When it comes to South, we are a majority tribe and we should be able to strategize. Making it rotate within 6 zones, no, is unworldly.
Okay.
Because saying that a man in a generation will have only one chance to be president is unworthy. Because if you make it 60 years and said it will go round 6 zones before it comes to another zone, what if the person we have in that section is the most qualified in a particular place?
Yeah.
Then will you now go to start begging people to present themselves to become president? That's what is going to happen if you say 6 geopolitical zones.
Right.
Because you will now be limited to Southwest. And remember, you have political parties. Then if people are not interested, time will come when people will not be as interested in politics as they are today.
Right.
When all the professions in Nigeria starts blossoming.
Right.
Now, so I support the issue of rotational, but I support them saying no, it can't go around the 6 geopolitical zones.
Should be
and
North
it's
and
good. So you have to amend the constitution for 1 term.
Okay.
That's the only way.
6 years.
Yes, because if you don't do that, if the president becomes so incomparably bad like Tinubu, and then does only 1 term, Are you now going to say no? He must finish the second term before.
I
So
agree.
it has to be one term. One thing again I want to talk before we end.
Okay.
Is to say that the failure of this government did not stop within the national boundaries. It also went into the international boundaries. For the first time since the formation of ECOWAS is split. Simply because of the incompetence of this government in handling change of power in other countries. In Buhari's regime, there were some unconstitutional change of power.
Right.
And they handled it so efficiently well. When there was a change of power in Niger Republic, the first thing this government said is that it was going to take them out within 7 days. If they don't run out. In diplomacy, you carry a big chain, but you go with soft words.
So guys, away from what Kenneth Ogongo has just finished saying, let's take a look at some of the headlines. The Lagos state government shut down Cubana Chief Priest Hotel. So there was this post trending yesterday that Cubana Chief Priest workers were seen disposing dead, that's dustbin, as like we always call it, disposing dead, in a wrong place. I mean, just like some people will carry their dead and just dump on the street and go their way, something like that. So they had these bags of dead, rubbish, dustbin, and it was being said, allegedly said, that they were the ones that dumped it, and Cubana Chief Priest happens to run something like a fast food restaurant in Lagos State, and possibly that post has been taken to the state government, and then this post has just emerged that Lagos State has shut down Cubana Chief Priest Hotel, or his restaurant, sorry. So let's take a look at some of the reactions. This is coming at a time when people started making posts that Lagos is stinking, Lagos is smelling, Lagos is not good. And then, some people say it's the Igbos that are criticizing Lagos. So now, Cubana Chief Priest is now the scapegoat, It's not the scapegoat. So this person, the first post here is saying that Cubana Chief Priest before now said he moved his business from Southeast to Lagos because of insecurity, and that is exactly what this person posted. He just showcased that image. Lagos State government, do more to him and his business. We are in support. This is coming from an Igbo person. The person is saying Lagos State should show him pepper, that they are in support of it. And then Cubana Chief Priest was also seen in a photo where he was wearing Tinubus cap. This Tinubus cap. So he's just portraying himself as a supporter of Tinubu. And guess what? This person that showed this photo said, this cap no save him. Meaning that this cap couldn't come to his rescue. For the fact that he wore Tinubu's cap was not enough for him to be, rescued from this this trouble that has hit him. Another person say, oh, he owns the restaurant where they caught the staff dumping refuse on one corner of the road. That's what this person said, just like what I've just narrated, And this other person said, this one don't pass laughing matter. Why are they bent on killing these guys' steez? They want to turn his steez to sneeze. Or the Igbo. And another person said, they have come for Igbos again. So, I believe that Lagos State government is looking for those they can use as scapegoats, and it happens because, see, there's a video, if I show you that video, you will cry. This guy just posted that video, I think, today, showing those defecating along the road. In short, Lagos is really a messy place. If you watch that video, you know that Lagos is really so dirty. And this person said they need him in APC. And this other person said, Another person said, I don't even care who owns the outfit. My question is, why shutting down the restaurant? You arrest the staff who committed the offense. Why not prosecute the offender or ask him to pay fine? Why shutting down a business that employs people and pay taxes just like that? I think this one makes sense. It makes sense. And so people just keep reacting, and this one says upon everything he did to identify with them, meaning upon everything he did to show that he's a Tinubu supporter. And this other one says it would have been very nice if they could reduce the smell in Lagos. In fact,
Alpha bro, when I watch this video.
50 million naira ransom, yet they took his life. If APC cannot protect their own,
Then who is safe in Nigeria? The director of administration for APC, Dr. Adekunle Adeneji, was kidnapped 2 months ago. They paid 50 million naira to the kidnappers. But unknown to them, before they paid the money, the kidnappers had already unalived him. That was a man with money, power, and connection. He still got his life wasted under the same government that he served. They used to say that the system was broken. Now, even the architects of the system are getting crushed by the system. Well, may his soul rest in peace.
He can never rest in peace. I swear to my life, he will never rest in peace. In fact, now hell is going to hell straight up. The evil way in plot don't consume him. Now so it be. And now so it go be for all of them. They no one wise. Kidnappers, first time when they do something where enter me. All those kidnappers, first time when they do something where sweet me for body. When I go for the big fish. Go for the people when I go collect money. No be all those innocent farmers when no get shishi and I go they kidnap. This one when I do, I give na 100 kidnappers. 100 as na then they sponsor them, may it backfire for their head. You know, go better for all of them. I dare you go rest in pieces. See you see hellfire. If you never even enter the hellfire already, no go better for all of them. Let you go shame all of now one after the other. And I know one wise. Now go wise by force or zo.
So guys, Nigerians are really angry with this Tinubu's government. You know, Nigerians are angry. So you know that this APC chieftain was kidnapped. They now sent 2 people to go pay ransom. When they got there, the kidnappers also kidnapped those 2 persons that came to pay ransom. And they ended up buying the man. They buy the APC chieftain who was kidnapped. You know, they collected ransom, they still killed him. But later they released those people that came to bring the ransom. So, but you see, the APC is playing with fire. They are playing with fire. You've seen what is happening across the nation. Tinubu has not taken one step to at least address insecurity because of politics. Tinubu wants the North to vote for him massively in 2027. He's not condemning the buying of people, what the Fulani headsmen have been doing. You know, Tinubu created Ministry of Headsmen and whatever, livestock and whatever, you know, just to please the Fulanis. These are people that are just a handful of persons in Nigeria. Their population is so small. But you see the Southeast, Tinubu has no project for the Southeast. That is the level of the hatred. But immediately he came in, he created that livestock ministry for the Fulanis. And now see how they are going about kidnapping people. No APC politician can. If you listen to Kenneth Okonkwo, he said the National Assembly can do anything that Tinubu wants them to do. Most times, the loans that Tinubu takes don't even come on the floor of the Senate. They don't debate it. They approve it behind doors. So Tinubu has so much influence on the House. What prevents him from telling those in the House to come up with bills to stop this buying of people, this kidnapping by? We even have constitution that goes against kidnappers, but none of them is being applied in all this situation. So you can see that the APC is really a very big failure in this country. Anyway, let's take a look at what Aisha Yusufu tweeted today. She said, if Peter Obi becomes running mate to anyone in 2027, I will work against that ticket in my little capacity. We are always asking the best to be second in Nigeria. So you must have heard that Atiku is offering Peter Obi to run with him as the vice president while Atiku becomes the presidential candidate. Peter Obi becomes the vice. So I don't even know why Atiku is not leaving politics. Has somebody wondered why Atiku wants to be president at all costs? Somebody who has tried and tried and tried. Is it because he's fortunate to have money? Because running these things is not a chicken change, honestly. Running for this presidential election, whether you won or you didn't win, it's not a chicken change. And every year, Atiku comes out to disrupt the system. You can imagine if Atiku had allowed this ticket to go to the South. After Buhari stayed for 8 good years, a Fulani man, a northerner, 8 good years, Atiku just came out from nowhere that he also wants to become president again. Another Fulani, another northerner. And we saw Northerners going to vote for him, as if the North is created to rule forever in this country. See, if selfishness is not good, when you just consider only yourself, I don't know, self-centeredness is the worst disease in this country. Now, Atiku is telling Peter Obi that has a well-known support base of young Nigerians. Go to the universities, go to everywhere. Any youths in this country are for Peter Obi. And we saw Peter Obi, a man who came in for the first time in politics. You saw the number of votes he pulled. Even in the North, where it was said he's not going to get anything, we saw Peter Obi winning so many places, especially like around the Middle Belt. Look at Abuja, Peter Obi won. And now Atiku is coming now to disrupt the system again. And anytime Atiku disrupts this system, it favors the opposition, it favors the ruling party. So one might be wondering if Atiku is actually working for the ruling party, because if he comes out and says, Peter Obi, come, let's run together, and if Peter Obi say no, Atiku will not want to run under Peter Obi. He believes he should be the chef. Peter Obi should be the boy. You can imagine that. And you can hear Aisha Yusuf saying that she will work against that ticket, because they always want the best to be the one that will be under them. Peter Obi, in terms of character, credibility, and everything, you can't compare him and Atiku. But you can see now they are now asking him to come and run with him as a vice presidential candidate. Even Mr. Dele Farotimi has said it, that as it stands now, Peter Obi is his preferred candidate, except if Peter Obi goes into coalition with somebody he does not believe in. That's the only thing that will make him not to vote for Peter Obi. So the choice of Peter Obi in this coalition talk is going to make or mar his chances, because Nigerians, even there are rumors about El-Rufai, him running with El-Rufai. So we were surprised seeing that a well-known newspaper was carrying this one between Peter Obi and Atiku. So a whole lot of, speculations out there. Until we hear directly from Obi, they will know exactly where we are. But as it stands now, all the choices out there are not really what people want to embrace. You can imagine somebody like El-Rufai running with Peter Obi. These are two opposite human beings. Their directions are just so different. Everybody in his own way. Peter Obi's, you can't even compare Peter Obi in any way with El-Rufai. So when this rumor began to fly, people were like, how is Obi going to cope with this challenge? Because as it stands now, Peter Obi really needs coalition. He needs coalition. He really needs it. But the people available are the wrong person. So if I'm to say, I would say Peter Obi should just go back to Dati Ahmed, the person he ran with before. Because, see, it's only unpatriotic Nigerians that will not be tired of this Tinubus government. It's only those who do not care. If you're a patriotic Nigerian and you really want this country to move forward, you know that the Tinubus government is a big failure. These are people that are confused. The Minister for Power came out recently and said he needs $10 billion every year in the next 20 years for Nigeria to be able to get power. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine the amount he's calling on a yearly basis? That's what he needs to provide Nigeria with power. And we that supply other neighboring countries power, go there, they will have like 24 hours in uninterrupted power. But in Nigeria, it's always the other way around, because people want to enjoy the money and not give benefit of dividend of democracy to the people. You have seen even in defense, you know how much Nigeria budgets for defense, security. But see how even Boko Haram is daring us to our faces. Headsmen, common headsmen, Nigeria cannot conquer. Can you see that kind of a thing? Common headsmen, Nigeria as a country cannot put their menace to a stop because of political gains. So when you look at the whole thing, it's a bit confusing what Peter Obi should really do for me, because going by his persons, Dati Ahmed is his perfect match. People that don't have any stain, you can't call them out, oh, they are corrupt, they are this. But if Peter Obi goes into coalition with El-Rufai, Peter Obi will have so many questions to answer. I mean, people, so many things will come up which he will not be able to defend. And if Peter Obi goes with Atiku also has his own corruption allegations around him that Peter Obi will not be able to manage. So Peter Obi needs somebody who, like that then, you will not say this is somebody who has worked for his money, has universities, and he has other businesses that he does. You cannot say he has stolen, or even when he was in the Senate, it was because of all these corruptions that he just left and all that. So he's somebody you cannot that cannot be faulted. Not that he's God, speaking from a human perspective. So he's a very good match with Peter Obi. But the question remains, the way this politics is going now, Tinubu wants to gag everybody to the APC. You must have heard that Fubara is joining the APC. So any moment from now, you might be seeing that happening. Finally, they've pushed him. The agreement is, oh yeah, you must join so that Tinubu can have Rivers State come 2027. That's what the strategy. Oh my God. It is only in Nigeria that we have politicians that have got nothing to offer, but they want to force themselves on the people. Can you imagine? Tinubu is by fire, by force. Look at Delta State, because EFCC came up with allegations, oh, he stole, he embezzled. Now they force them, oh yeah, join the APC and let your sin be forgiven. You must have seen that of Akwa Ibom. The former governor was also taken by EFCC. Oh, corruption, you embezzled. Before you know it, now the current governor is saying that they are moving to, he's already giving signs, and the speculations are out there, he's moving to the APC. So it's all about APC just looking for something, especially against the opposition. They don't do this for ex-governors in the APC. They only go for ex-governors in the PDP, so that when they shake you, they'll then offer you, join us, or we deal with you for that. And they will have no option than just to join. So the whole thing is really messy. See, there is no democracy. You must have seen, there's a video on Twitter today where Akpabio was saying that you have to educate the people. These decampees, they are very happy that people are decamping, coming into the APC. You can imagine a Senate president. When he said it, God, I was like, Jesus, this is how these people sitting on that seat where he is, he does not even understand what he represents, the number 3 person in this country. But all of them, for political gain, you see them talking about destroying democracy. Now, Ganduje came out and said, after all, China is practicing one-party system. There's nothing wrong if Nigeria should also practice that. Now, somebody reacted to that, on Twitter and was saying, okay, China is practicing one-party system, but China executes its corrupt politicians. Are we going to have a Nigeria where our corrupt laws will be passed that let corrupt politicians be executed? Since Ganduje is comparing Nigeria with China. China, a one-party system, they don't practice democracy, which we know. Now they are pushing Nigeria not to practice democracy. Would they also do what China is doing? China has pulled thousands and millions of its citizens out of poverty. Can Nigeria do it? Look at the technology. China now is competing with US they will even outshine US very soon. I'm telling you, because these Asian people, like the Chinese people, they are so creative. They are so creative. When the China start, look at the extent to which they've gone. So many innovations going on there. Can Nigeria do it? The only thing Ganduje is seeing is, yes, China is doing one-party system. Nigeria can also do it. This is the man that was accused of collecting dollar bribe and all that. Now, he is being celebrated. Nigeria is a place where you celebrate the worst. But if you see people who are patriotic, fighting for this country to be good, like now, they said the DSS is going after Professor Pat Utomi because of his statement that he made. If you see those patriotic Nigerians who are not happy the way the country is sinking, those are the people they want to destroy. But you see all these corrupt ones, look at them in top positions. People like Akpabio, them see the position they are holding. See, if you are the worst, you benefit in countries like Nigeria. But the good ones, nobody recognizes them. I watched a video of, is he a Ghanaian pastor? He was shouting, how can somebody who saved this kind of money, Nigerians could not vote for him? He was talking about Peter Obi. That, can you imagine? I wish I can find that video. It's on Twitter. He was just shouting that how can Nigeria not vote for this kind of person who saved this kind of money for the country? They now voted for, he didn't even know that Nigerians were not the ones that voted after Tinubu came out to say, I know many of you did not vote for me. So Nigerians didn't vote for him. And this man was just lamenting as if he's a Nigerian, that how can they not vote for this person with this kind of record? Hey, Africa. He was just lamenting as if he's a Nigerian. I wish I just find, I think I saw that video today also. Let me see if I can quickly see so that you listen for yourself, because we don't even know the value of what we have. Now, look at some of them. APC now has hired mobs on the social media. Their job is to criticize Peter Obi from morning to night. If you see what they are writing, if you see all their posts, is Peter Obi, Peter Obi, Peter Obi, obedience, Peter Obi, obedience. None of them is talking about substance, the things happening in the country. None of them. They are just there looking at Peter Obi. Hey, Peter Obi did not greet the Pope. Peter Obi was not allowed to the dining, VIP section. Peter Obi was not. They just keep posting about Peter Obi, Peter Obi, Peter Obi, Peter Obi. That's just their problem. But when it comes to the challenges of this country, you don't see any of them talk about what is happening in Nigeria. So when you look at the whole thing, you see leadership is gone. And what Tinubu is trying to do now is exactly what he did in Lagos. If Tinubu is able to gag all these politicians into one party, he is going to be the boss of the party. Even if he leaves, he will still have full monopoly, full authority, in that party. So that means he's going to be the one to dictate who is going to take over, who is going to be seen. Just like what you see in Lagos that has been happening for years. It's difficult to dismantle it. It's very difficult to dismantle it. Tinubu has taken that position in Lagos. He has taken it. Now, listen, this is the pastor I'm talking about, but just listen to what he's...
Today in Nigeria, 3 men are standing for election. One of them, when you check his record, he left office just governor, just like regional minister. He left 75 billion in the coffers for the next man. Have you ever heard it in any way in Africa before? And yet they won't vote for such a man. They are voting for people they don't know what they are talking about. Wickedness. Itobi, when you listen to his record, you even think if everybody is normal in Nigeria, they shouldn't even do election. They should go and pick the man like this and put him there. But no, those that have a record of stealing. They are the ones that the masses are. It's unfortunate, and it is because there's no light. He left 75 billion, like as Massa is about to go. He leaves 75 billion, but our own is debt. And you say the pastor shouldn't talk. The politicians, do they sit down as? Do they even understand concept than a man of God? A man of God, his spirit, his mind is open. You are not intelligent than a man of God. We intentionally doesn't go into certain places so that we maintain our life. Don't think you are more intelligent than us. I also went to school. I also did law. So who do you make? I put it to you. I know all those kind of things. Such a man is there. They will not give the destiny to him. They won't give it to him. They rather give it to people. No record, nothing. Because forces of wickedness. Yes. There is no way a wicked man will lead and the people will liberate it. Because it is light that liberates people.
So you can see even non-Nigerians testifying about Peter Obi's record. He's just mentioning the dollar amount. Peter Obi left dollar, he left naira. That is real money, But look at so many states. Currently now, Tinubu is busy sharing money to governors and National Assembly members. The money governors are getting. Have you not heard that? Oh, governors are getting enough now. They are getting enough. One of the lawmakers was talking, and he said they are now receiving 1 billion for community projects. Billions is what Tinubu is sharing. Instead of him to use that money, build international hospitals, go to schools, renovate our schools, make our schools to work again. A reverend father was talking, a bishop or so, he was talking, and he made mention of how the federal government took over missionary schools and they've destroyed them. These are schools that had values. This was what Peter Obi did when he came to Anambra. Peter Obi restored schools back to to missions so that they manage them. You know, all these like Catholic schools, you know, they are very strict. Anywhere you see them in the world, even in Europe, even in America, anywhere you see all these Catholic schools, Anglican schools, and all that, they are always very strict in terms of discipline. When you pass through those schools, you come out refined. But see, in places like Nigeria, go to places like Kwara State, even the Baptist church school there is fighting with the government. Government has taken over, bringing hijab and mess up everywhere. Quality of education, zero. Zero. Look at now, so many things happening in this country, honestly, you know, so many things happening. And when election comes, they want to use INEC, they want to use judiciary, they want to use police, they want to use military, they want to use INEC representative, these INEC officials. Before the day of the election, you will see written results already circulating. Election voting that has not taken place, results will be everywhere. So a whole lot of cleanup to be done in this country. So in your own little way, you add your voice, add your voice, add your effort. Elections very soon now, campaigns will begin because the APC has already started even before marking 22nd anniversary. They've started, you know. Recently, they went to the UK to go and discuss their achievements. Have you seen that kind of a thing? People have been lamenting. Is it in today's world where you can, with video, you can have any kind of a, assuming they must have the gathering with somebody in the UK, you can host them online, is it Zoom and all that, discuss your achievement without anybody being invited into the group, keep it private for yourselves. But they had to use taxpayers' money, took themselves to the UK, taxpayers' money, the hotels they will lodge, taxpayers' money, the food they will eat, everything for a country that is struggling. So this, just know that this government has failed and they know they are a one-time government. That's why they want to push all the PDP members to come into the APC so that they will help Tinubu. But like that of Delta, they have moved, but the people of Delta say they are not moving with them. So let the politicians, the governors keep moving. Not they don't have the mandate, the support of the people. So, but let them just keep going for fulfillment of obligation. The only thing Tinubu feels happy about is because if he gets the governor is the one that is going to help police and all INEC to rig in the state level. You know what I mean? So once they get the governors, they believe that, like people like Wike now, does Wike believe in voting the right way? No, they just believe in coming up with figures and they know how to do it. So it is for us to be smart so that we don't have a repetition of what we had 2023 because it was a total mess. And look at it now, it's a forgotten thing. And we are facing another election and see how all these things are happening. So it's really so sad, you know, that this country is not even near liberation, considering the kind of politicians we have. You can imagine, Ganduje has come out to say there is no vacancy in Asoro. Can you imagine in a democracy, somebody will come out to say there is no vacancy, telling the people that your vote is not even going to count because we are here, you don't have any place. That's really wrong. And you see, even the Senate president, all of them supporting people to decamp and defect, and they are like pushing people. I'm just wondering how Rivers State people are going to react when Fubara leaves the PDP for APC. I'm just wondering, after setting everywhere ablaze, now he has bowed to pressure. Anyway, guys, I'm going to end this session here. Thank you for joining me. Please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. Also turn on the bell notification for more updates and give this video a like so that YouTube can recommend it to others, and let's see some other time. Thank you so much for being with me to the end of this live session. God bless you, and let's see you again, possibly tomorrow. Bye.